Hello friends, myself Dr. Nidhi Darbari on My Education Treasure. In my previous video on storytelling technique, I had discussed about factors, precautions and educational significance of storytelling, a teaching device. Today in my present video, I am going to discuss about the meaning and advantages of storytelling teaching as a device. Storytelling method is a method and also a technique of teaching. It is a form of narration. It means to recite or to tell a story. It creates curiosity among students and develops the ability of imagination. It is psychological in nature and is mainly used for teaching lower classes or smaller children in a special way, as generally small children like to listen to stories. Teaching can be made easy by using this technique. The students can learn and retain stories for a longer period. This technique can also be used in teaching higher classes. It is also a strategy of teaching. Some teachers are very expert in storytelling technique. The use of teaching is highly psychological. This technique can be used in all the school subject. In it, the teacher orally narrates or describes in a very lucid, interesting and lively style the orderly sequenced events composed in the form of a story to a learner or group of students for the purpose of explaining, illustrating and highlighting the facts, concepts, processes and events related to his topic of teaching. Skills of storytelling. Remember that storytelling is an art. Some people are expert in this art by birth, but these are such skills which can be acquired and expertise can be achieved by learning those skills. Every teacher should know this art. For this, he should have rich imagination, accurate and wide knowledge of the past, and a rich collection of stories to use them as and when the situation demands. Each and every pupil teacher should take care of them. The following skills should be well taken care of by the teacher who uses this device in classroom teaching. The storyteller should prepare a complete mental picture of the various elements of the story. Then its theme and ideas should be presented in a logical manner. This creates interest and life in the story. Before telling a story, the important elements of the knowledge should be understood by learning them. The crammed word makes the story dull. The characters of the story should be according to the characters of the close surroundings of the students. As far as possible, the storytelling should inspire the students. The storytelling should occur when the students are interested in it and the class environment should be completely peaceful. In a noisy environment, telling a story is a mere waste of time. While telling a story, the contents for the story, the mental level, interest and emotional characteristics of the students should not be overlooked. If such is not done, the storytelling won't have any effect upon the students. The language of the story should be easy, correct and clear. The storyteller should have fluctuations in his voice. Also, the method of the story should be natural, emotional and attractive. It should not have any sort of artificiality. There should be a direct relationship of the story with the subject. The storyteller should develop the imagination, curiosity and motivating tendency of the students more and more by using his own imaginative powers. In other words, story should be used as a means, not as a goal. The story should not be too lengthy. The story should not be told by reading. Nothing should be read from the notes of the book. The whole of the story should be narrated in one sequence in an interesting way. While telling a story, the teacher should exhibit gestures according to its theme and incidents. The storyteller should tell the story in such a lively and natural way that he should forget himself and become a story himself. The style of narration should be a joyful activity. Storytelling should be continuous. Any interruption in its flow and change in the reference will spoil its enjoyment. After telling the story, questions should be asked from the pupils. This will lead us to know whether they have learned the subject matter or not. At the end, the student should be given opportunities to react to the whole story. The historical facts should not be distorted because that gives bad impressions to the learner. The main points of the story may be repeated because generally the students enjoy that type of repetition. Their activities and experiences as shown in the story should be interesting for the students. While telling the story, the teacher should create suitable atmosphere. The purpose of telling the story should be to be clear to the teacher as well as the students. Surely, storytelling is an art which can be acquired by a teacher during the course of teaching. Seeing the wonderful benefits of this device, every teacher should try to be good in storytelling. That gives a thrill to the learners for learning, and it also gives a lot of satisfaction to the teachers. Use of storytelling in different stages. The method of teaching should be mainly the story method up to class 5th. Stories and anecdotes otherwise liven up the subject matter as the child advances in age and understanding in the middle and secondary classes. Using other methods as lecture or conversation method or even discussion and problem method while telling related stories will make the subject matter interesting and lively. Effective use of story method. Orderly manner. Expressions like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you about an important point," does not speak of a good storyteller. The teacher must know the story fully well. Full action and details. The story should be replete with the description of places, persons, and things with frequent references to geographical condition during the narration of stories. Interesting narration. Storytelling can be made interesting by the use of catchy words and phrases and handy illustrations such as metaphors and similes and correlation with verbal experiences with which children are familiar. Catchy words and phrases create proper images. Narration can be made interesting if the narrator takes the role of one of the characters. Suitability. Narration should be suitable to the audience. Although the facts should never be distorted, the narration should be adapted to the audience. Advantages of storytelling. Compared to the other techniques, that of storytelling has the following advantages. Enhancing interest in the subject. Storytelling is the most effective way of bringing questions from the students. Out of all the aspects, cultural and social, economic, prehistoric, ancient, and medieval societies. Development of imagination. A good story writes the imagination of listeners. It takes them away from the matter of fact world. It offers ample scope for the play of the imagination. Imaginative powers of students also increase. Inculcation of virtues. Storytelling is the best ally for helping in developing virtues in students, including the much coveted traits of character as piety, truthfulness, valor, charity, etc. The teacher can very easily achieve success in this objective by relating the life stories of great personalities to the student's requirement from the teacher. Good qualities, manners, and etiquettes can be developed in students through the stories. Satisfies curiosity. Children have an inborn curiosity to learn about various objects and people. The educator can take advantage of this curiosity to tell the children many things through the medium of the story. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it with others, and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Interesting. There are very few people who object to listening to stories. Children, in particular, enjoy being told stories, and hence, a story can be used as an interesting medium of education. It increases the interest of students in the lesson. Assists memory. It is always easier to remember a subject one finds interesting. Hence, things taught by a story are remembered more easily. Entertaining. For children, education must also be entertainment, and this is possible only through storytelling. This makes the child enjoy his education. Inspiring. By the use of selected good and psychological stories, much can be done for developing the child's personality and character because stories are stimulating and inspiring. Development of character. Moral education cannot be given in sermons. It is better and more effective to tell inspiring stories to the child so that he is presented with a good example which he may strive to follow. It becomes easy for the students to understand the lesson after the story. Improves the vocabulary. It increases and improves the vocabulary of the students. Dullness of the environment can be removed. Suggestions. In order to make this method a success, a teacher must keep the following points into consideration. Story should be interesting to the students. There should be a natural sequence in the incidents while telling the story. Sequence break or skipping should not be there in the story. Incidents should be narrated in such a manner as they look real for the listeners. Characters of the story should be properly elaborated and compared to the present life situation. The story should be full of action, and these actions should be expressed by the teacher. The method of telling the story should be interesting and living, and phrases and figures of speech should also be used here and there. The story should be purposeful and not waste of time. Application. This method can be specially used in teaching languages and subjects of social sciences. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe.